Well, it is 1:30 in the morning. I think I'm on European time, right? So I'm on European time. I was in Sweden, and then before that, I was in Japan. I was in Japan twice. I went and then I went back again. So I'm not on American time. I don't know what time I guess, what is it? 9:30 in the morning right now, and which is when I was waking. So I actually slept in. Uh, in Sweden, I would be, it was time to get up at what, 8, 7, 8, which would have been 11 something. I don't know. I worked a lot today. I worked a lot. I had many patients, so I was responsible. Excuse me. I got up at like 8, saw a ton of patients, and and then, but that would be like 2 in the morning, or I don't know what time in Europe, some ungodly hour. So I was doing transcendental meditation between clients just to refuel, which is what I do as a remote viewer. I have to refuel, so I will do some transcendental, which is like a recharger for your brain, as Seinfeld likes to say, Jerry Seinfeld. So I was doing, during my lunch or whatever, I would do 20 minutes just to recharge, go back into session with a patient. But I think my last patient, I finished up at 6 p.m. and then I had some leftover pasta, and that was it. Passed out, and then I woke up around 1 o'clock. I did have a chest cold, I found out. Whoops. Hope I didn't just accidentally. Am I still going? Yes, I'm still going. Good. I almost knocked myself out. I did have a chest cold. I did have an infection. I think it was viral. I was also having night sweats. Long COVID is what you guys said. And then I got a bug on top of that. So I've been resting a lot. I'll try and get this glare out of the glasses. These are the new glasses. I hope you all like it. We're going to talk a little bit about some remotes. I actually am not happy because I don't like to see people suffer. I don't enjoy these remotes. I don't enjoy telling people that Donald Trump is having a health collapse. I'm an empathetic person, and I see him struggling, and I've done remote views on this. And oh, Jen, are you awake too? A lot of remote viewers will do a first and second sleep. So it's not unusual for many of you to be awake. 3:30 a.m. is the standard time when people would do. If you're talking about traditional remote viewers, it's often between midnight, 3:30 in the morning, during what's called the first waking. Is when a lot of remote viewing goes on. Sometimes I'll try to do remote views before I go to sleep. That can be a problem because if you fall asleep, and you don't write down your remote views, then you've lost the remote view. So I always tell people, if you're going to remote view, it's okay to get to level 3. Those of you who've taken HCRV, it's okay to get to level 3 and step 3, which is to just abide and fall asleep and use it as a way of going to sleep. A lot of people will do step 1, step 2, step 3. and just go to sleep. And that's cool. Oh, it's 6:30 at night. Great. So we'll get our Australia crowd in. So let's do the empath prayer, and then we're going to do some blitzes and some card readings tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'm very happy to announce that we're going to be back at Taco Tuesdays, which I absolutely love because we have a really fun time with Chuck. And we'll be talking quite a bit about some of the news. The royals are back in the news. As you know, there are race riots happening in Great Britain, and they really need Meghan and Harry to come in and unify. Yes, they need them very badly. So they're in talks. So we are definitely going to talk about that tomorrow, because that kind of goes back to some predictions we had made where the day would come that they would be begging Meghan and Harry to come back, and that time has come. They need them back. There's a lot of work to do, and there's a lot they need to do to unify the country and to get past their own petty crap and think about the bigger picture. They need to work it out, because things are not good in Britain right now. So we will be talking. I think it's an important thing to talk about, because now is the time for good people to come forward and stop that kind of crazy from going on. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about, don't we? I think Trump is going to be incarcerated. Yeah, that is the feeling. And I think that Trump knows that he's going to be incarcerated, which is causing all kinds of health collapses. It's also causing him to, I think, increase his drug use. If you saw it was funny. I had sent something to Mr. Musk regarding the rebuilding of Gaza, and I was complaining about the trolls to his mother. And then I got a quick thing back from him on X. And then he said, "Oh, we'll talk about it. I got some interviews." Like, I got this really quick note that he had interviews. And I thought, oh, he's got interviews. Okay, yeah, I usually will get one word if I'm lucky, like good, yes, right? And then it was that he was interviewing the president, the former president, 45. And then during the interview, it came out that 45 was slurring his words, etc. So that, to me, people said, well, did he have his dentures out? You know what's causing me to cough? I've got a lot of ice. I should probably get some warm. I'm going to go heat the warm water. But part of what was causing him to slur his words, I think, was they said maybe he had his dentures out. That's possible, but benzodiazepines can also cause it. And a benzo is similar effect. A benzodiazepine or a muscle relaxer or a benzo can relax the muscles, and it has a similar effect to alcohol. So if you want to feel like you're drunk, but you don't want to drink alcohol, you could become addicted to benzos. And in the case of Donald Trump, he doesn't drink alcohol, but he does have the genetic risk factors for alcoholism, which does have a genetic component. This is me just talking as a doctor, and I do have training in addiction. And so in a case of someone that doesn't drink but wants to have the same effects of raising GABA, they both raise GABA, and it can cause muscles to become extremely relaxed. Benzos actually will dry out your mouth, believe it or not. And you get dry cotton mouth with benzos. And it's also one of the reasons why they will often be sipping water and slurring the words. And also dentures will fall out, or you'll have trouble controlling your dentures, Sherry, because the mouth becomes dry. So what I felt as a physician, and what I've always felt as a physician regarding Trump, is that he had a prescription drug problem. And I'm surprised other doctors are not talking about this, and instead they're talking about neurodegenerative, but you're not talking about his prescription drug use. And Ronnie Jackson was the candy man that was handing out Ambien left and right. And Ambien is a really dangerous drug. We've talked about, when I was asked to do a remote view on Tiger Woods, I was under the influence of Ambien, and I had thought I was awake, but I was dreaming when I was asked to be the trance medium. I use HCRV to become the subject. And I woke up in an Ambien delusion and thought that I had missed my appointment. And I got into the car, and because you can fly in a car in dreams, I'm like, I guess, yeah, I'm going to have to get some warm water. I tried to fly like a cartoon character over the ravine so that I wouldn't miss my appointment, because my brain wasn't awake yet from the Ambien, and that is why I crashed as Tiger Woods. So one of the symptoms of benzos and muscle relaxants is similar to alcoholism, in the sense that you'll get that slurring of the words, and that is unfortunately what he sounded like during the interview. Good morning, Amelia. Please forgive me. I'm just going to go warm up some water because the ice is making me cough. So just talk amongst yourselves for 30 seconds. Okay. Yeah, just give myself a little warm water. So how are you all doing? Are you okay? Yeah, I woke up an hour ago, which was a little before 9:30, because I'm on Sweden time, Maria. I just came back from Sweden. I was there for 2 weeks. Beautiful country, so clean. I couldn't get over how clean Stockholm was, but maybe I was just in the tourist areas. But the food was great. I'm now addicted to sklar, watery yogurt, with the fruits and nuts, but I've got horrible acid reflux. And I think it's because of bread and yogurt and honey. These are very warming and very hot foods. So, and wheat, doing a lot of wheat. So all of wheat and cheese, so it's getting me a lot of acid reflux. So if you're talking about like cooling the body, we want to do cooling foods like melons, etc. So tomorrow I'm going to have to move towards the alkaline. Now there are alkaline coffees you can get, low acid coffees, if you love coffee as much as I do. I've been snooping on Amazon to try and find the best coffees, but little bit of naturopathic advice for you. But yeah, it appears that he appeared to be under the influence of something. And when he gets that slurring, when do you take a benzo? You take a benzo when you're having a panic attack, when you want to get drunk, with that, the same reason that you would have a drink. Excuse me. And it could be that he was under anxiety. Over 1 million people listened live on X to the interview. And then, of course, it was streamed on, through people's channels on YouTube, etc. So I'm sure that was a excuse me, a lot of pressure on Donald Trump. And so for that reason, he probably might have popped something like a benzo. It's very sad. I don't enjoy this, excuse me. I don't enjoy watching somebody have a health collapse. It's not fun for me. It's not fun to get it right? It's not fun to. I wrote an article in 2017 about being concerned about what looked like a drug problem. I was actually the first doctor to come out publicly. And I think a lot of doctors were afraid that I came out in 2017 and wrote an article about it, which yeah, I don't think it was ever properly addressed. And I think even to this day, there are people that are still protecting what people feel is the real issue with him. Yeah. I don't know about dentures. I think it was benzos. Also, he wasn't really making a lot of sense. It was not a good interview. So let's do the empath's prayer. How is everyone? Good morning to you if you're joining us. I will probably be up for several hours, do some cleaning. I have patients later today. If you're trying to get in to see me for a reading, the information is below. You can see me through Booksy. Did I get that information for you guys? Let me go ahead and give you the link to Booksy if you're trying to reach me. I can call. If you have an iPhone, that's kind of cool if you've got like a smartphone, because during the reading, I like to text people pictures of their reading so that we can go over it together, and that's kind of nice. Or we can do a live one. Also, people have smartphone. It gives you the option of seeing me and talking directly and seeing the cards. So I like giving people both options when I call them. But you can book me through Booksy. It's really easy. Also, I do 5-minute readings through Wizio that are like $30, and those are live. You can see them and see your cards if you just have one question. And I can usually get that back to you within 5 days, a business day. For those of you who had Wizio questions for me, I'm going to get those out to you later today. I usually wait until I got like 10 of them, and then I knock them all off at once. But yeah, so I do have some openings this week if people are trying to get in. Also, if you need to see me as a naturopathic doctor, we do have openings for telemedicine as well. Okie dokie, darlings. So let's get back to the show. I think what we should do now is the empath's prayer. What say you all? Does that sound like a good idea? Does that sound like a good idea? Would you all like that? Okay, let's do it. I think enough people are here. 155. Wow, that's quite a few for almost 2 in the morning. For me, it's 9:30, 10:30. So I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, as a community, we say, Amen. Yeah, it's the perfect prayer, and I thank you all for creating it. This prayer, The empath's prayer was channeled collectively by you, the community, over a course of about 6 months. At the opening of this channel in 2017, I believe it was, people asked me to do an opening prayer, and people requested certain things. And from your request, a prayer was constructed from the universe. And so the empath's prayer belongs to everyone. It was written by all of you, and it was channeled by you. So we give back to you the empath's prayer, and it is yours free to use and to modify as you see fit. It doesn't belong to me. I guess it belongs to the world, right? Yeah, so the first thing that I had concerns about was Trump's health collapse. As I had mentioned in previous remotes, it felt to me like it was just too much. I felt as Trump that it was too many hits. It was death by 1,000 paper cuts. I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again, and maybe it is causing some Trump fatigue in the sense that I just keep repeating this rigged system. It's a conspiracy. As I had also said in previous remotes, when I have been Donald Trump, I felt like I had quiet quit, that I didn't have the emotional and physical wherewithal to go on the campaign trail. This is also something that we had talked about prior to the assassination attempt, that as his handler, I put myself in the shoes of his handlers for the GOP. You have to look at the psychological and mental health of a candidate, because they're like a showman. They have to go out, play the music, get out there and dance, listen to YMCA, etc. And there was a concern that he was not going to be able to, that there would be post-traumatic stress disorder after the incident, and it would become increasingly difficult for him to get out on the campaign trail after the assassination attempt. It would have an effect on his mental health, his cognitive abilities, and combined with everything else, it seems to be what's happening. And now Midas Touch and other networks are talking about this idea of him quiet quitting. What do you guys think about that? He quiet quits. He goes back to Mar-a-Lago, takes care of his health, which for him is being back on prescription drugs, right? If the pharmaceuticals are prescribed by his doctor, or if he's lying to his parole officer, oh, hi, Greta, then that's interesting, because he definitely sounds like he's on something. Let's take a look. Can he come back from this? I don't know. I don't think so, because I'm also seeing incarceration. He can quiet quit, which is to continue to collect money and do as little as possible. Play golf, refer to the vice president as a bitch, He is going to get a windfall of economic growth, he's going to get a windfall of money from his talk with with Elon Musk. So say 100 million people hear parts of the video because parts of the interview because Elon Musk put it on X, et cetera, et cetera. So the fool wants to start this new situation, and then he has the Empress coming in. So it could be that it was a good interview in the sense that it may have attracted new donors, which they desperately need from the Republican Party right now. So part of what Elon Musk did for him is it was basically a fundraiser, getting him out there and introducing, excuse me, introducing him to the X community and trying to get this windfall, the treasure trove or the wealth of the Empress. He's concentrating his attention at Mar-a-Lago. He's back at, oh no, actually, is that Mar-a-Lago? No, that isn't. Oh, he's headed to New Jersey because this is my Northeast. This is my home in the Northeast, a heavy load. He carries a heavy load. So he's headed back to New York, New Jersey area. Does he have to go back before the judge? Is that what that is? Interesting. Yeah, he's getting a ton of money. I'm going to go get my honey candies. Hold on a second. Yeah, I do have I went to the doctor. It's was actually not just my cat. I do have an upper respiratory. I had a virus. They can't really do anything other than tell you to stay hydrated. And yeah, so I did catch a couple bugs. Oh, well. Heavy load going back to the Northeast, and look at this large chunk of money coming over him. That's probably Elon Musk bump. And then again here. So he's getting a lot of money from the interview he did today. Not just Musk, but Musk is convincing other people to invest. What is above him? The businessman. I'm assuming that must be Elon. Oh, what he's sitting in, King of Cups. Yeah, he's got these money people. And wait a minute, isn't Alana Cancer? Cancers always have to have a lot of babies. Cancer men, they want to stay home and have kids. He's got Elon Musk, and then this must be like Peter Thiel. He's got these businessmen, and he's sitting in a foundation with Elon Musk. Yeah, so he is getting a lot of help. His family legacy, he has a concern about, he's very confused. He can't rely on his own family. I'm also concerned about Don Jr.'s mental health because Don Jr.'s needs to be in rehab. His drug addiction looks really, really bad. Also, that was something I did a remote view tonight on, and I really wanted to, he needs an actual intervention. But you have this past family legacy leading to confusion in a sense that I think that he's really confused about whether or not his kids are with him or against him. And there's this feeling of really worrying about his son and his son's mental health. All these kids have addiction. Well, there's a real addiction problem here. Mastery is over him. So the masters are working, and there's a lot of money that's being poured into his campaign. So they're going to try and attack. And they're attacking with a lot of money. And his opposition, which is the Harris campaign, is going to go under serious attack. So they're regrouping for the next couple of weeks. And his money people are getting organized. and they're going to start a serious attack. He's terrified he's losing his audience. Three of Cups is coming as the outcome. The clarification is the courts are over him. His opposition is casting a judgment against him. His hopes and fears is this move, something about him moving or going to the Northwest in the near future. Armistice, or it's over for him, and it has there's something about his money. I got to do this again. He's, I wonder if Elon and everybody else are going to try and bail him out financially, because he's got all, that they can get enough money to him through this PAC to pay off all of his legal problems. And then in 2 weeks, he comes back again, well rested, go play some golf. He's having some psychological challenges, performance challenges after the assassination attempt. And I just want to see a little bit more into his campaign. Yeah, I mean, we can get into Elon Musk motivator, why he's an interesting person to profile, because there's a part of Elon Musk that is childlike and emotionally immature. And so, he's kind of trapped at the age of 10, Elon Musk. And Donald Trump is trapped at the age of 2 or 3 when his mother hemorrhaged on the floor and his father was screaming, "What the hell's wrong with you? You're bleeding all over the place," right? That's the trauma that Mary Trump talks about that freezes him. The horror of seeing your mother bleeding to death and this guy screaming. So he keeps going back to, she was bleeding all right. He goes back to the frozen 2-3-year-old. Then his mother gets whisked away to hospital. Then she's gone for a year, right? And he's got this lunatic raising him, right? So that's the point at which he emotionally becomes stunted Trump. For Elon Musk, it's throwing himself in front of his dad who's beating his mother, then starving. They literally didn't have bread to eat, and then getting beaten half to death, being poor and being beaten to death by white supremacists, right? So he gets a major head injury. That all happens to Elon Musk at age 10. Elon Musk has the ability to have profound empathy, that even though he's been accused of, in some ways, of not having empathy, there's another aspect of him which is capable of empathy that Donald Trump doesn't have. So it's interesting. They're both trapped in their childhoods, but at different phases in their childhood. But psychologically, I would say, if you ask me as a profiler, I would put Elon Musk, his life stops at the age of 10. That is the major trauma, cracking his skull so that it's the size of a, serious head injury, and deals with relationships with other people, like a 10-year-old brat who's trying to piss people off, and dealing with his relationships with girls like a 10-year-old boy, right? Dirty jokes that a 10-year-old or 11-year-old would make, right? So it's interesting to see his profile. He's 10 talking to a 2 or 3-year-old. All right. So if you view it that way, you pretty much understand the profile of these two people. One guy is 2 or 3, the other guy is 10, but neither is an adult. It's like when we were asked to do a profile of Brad Pitt. Who came in and gave the profile of Brad Pitt? Jennifer Aniston gave the profile. And what did Jennifer Aniston say when we channeled Jennifer Aniston? Brad's a boy. He's just a boy. He's not evil. He's just a boy. And I told Angela that he was a boy and he was always going to be a boy, but she thought she was going to change him. It's not going to work. I accept him. He's just a boy, right? So why did she not have kids? She didn't want to have kids with him because he's a boy. She saw him and she accepted him. And in a way, she kind of said, hey, Angelina, you were warned. Right. So there are just people that can't grow up for whatever reason, even when they get married, even when they have kids, because of a trauma or whatever. They remain boys. Maybe, you could argue that that is a personality disorder. All right, let's look again at Trump's health. I'm seeing a ton of money coming in. So even though we thought it was a disastrous interview, it did a lot to raise money for his campaign. Worried about his health, just as a physician. And I'm worried for his son, Don Jr.'s health as a doctor. I want some kind of, I would like someone to love Don Jr. enough, which would be his mother, but she's passed, to do an intervention and get him into rehab. And no one's doing that. There's a major change going on with Trump regarding his partnerships. So he gets in with the Simi Valley crowd, which is where the big money is out of California. So it's a new group of people, but these are also the people that brought in J.D. Vance, right? It grazed the back this way. It went in this direction because of the angle. So as a result, it shot this way rather than straight through. But it left a lot of blood because the ear is very vascular. And in fact, there are new ways of treating viruses where they just hook a red lamp to the ear. And as all the blood that circulates in the body will go eventually through the veins and the arteries of the ear, the capillaries of the ear. That's how much blood flow goes through the ear. And what scientists out of, I think it's Korea, have done is they create a red light that you attach to the ear, and you just sit with it for an hour or two. And what it does is it cleans and kills the viruses that are entering through. And so it could be a treatment for HIV, etc. And I was able to see a demonstration. You could just walk around with it, put it in your pocket, and you've got this glowing thing on your ear. Very fascinating. I wish I could have one of those right now, and I would give myself a few treatments. But so yeah, it's quite vascular. And so it was nicked. But because it has so much blood flow, what happens, those of you who are nurses and doctors, etc., blood flow can lead to recovery, right? So so the white blood cells go and they repair it, etc. So you get a nick and it looks very bloody, but it also scabs up pretty quickly and heals pretty quickly. You can see a change in transformation in his partnerships, where he's at right now. Masters are right over him. So he's getting a lot of help. Again, same thing, trying to get him to smoother waters and just letting him take a break. He is wrapped up in legal tape. You see, wrapped in tape, literally. It's always the same thing. They take him out, that Trump is taken out by debtor's prison, which is... isn't that what happened to Al Capone? I mean, what he sits in Archangel Michael, and it's resulting in red tape. So what he's coming out of, he got his wish regarding Two of Swords. Justice denied, hear no evil, see no evil, like having at least, I don't know what's going on with the case in Georgia, if that was temporarily turned off or what, but he gets his wish regarding some of this stuff being avoided. And maybe part of what Musk is doing is raising money to pay his legal bills with this Two of Swords, justice denied. Here, no, the swords of just the heavy swords, but I don't want to deal with it, right? Where he's at right now, sobriety is the issue, temperance. Again, I'm worried about his prescription drug use. And part of the cognitive problems, I think, are long-term prescription drug use, benzos, Ambien. The other who's having, there's grief, something's going on in his, with the Harris campaign. I'll find out a little bit more about that. He's worried about the police. I'm telling you, something's coming up. There's another investigation going on with Donald Trump. And I think it has to do with Mar-a-Lago. There's the businessman. It must be Peter Thiel. Three of Wands. He's going to be out. The money's not going to go to the campaign. It's going to. He's thinking of leaving the country. Actually, Sterling was right about that. Three of Wands over the ocean. His luck. His opposition is getting a lot of donations. His hopes and fears, whether he's going to be okay financially, and then his final outcome is the Magician card. The money man bails him out. So his finances are saved or rescued, possibly by wealthy donors, and in that sense, he. But I don't see him winning. Let's take a look at whether or not he wins the election. Can we pay to get? I mean, like, they are going to be planning some probably serious lying. Okay. Jamaican Blue Mountain. Yes, I have some Jamaican Blue Mountain from my friend. My friend sent me some. Billy Verde is how she. All right, let's see how Trump's election cards. Can he still win the election? Can Trump win the election? Can they pay to? I keep saying on X to the Elon Musk people and to Elon, it's like, admit that you tied yourself to a dead horse and work with the Harris campaign. Why don't you just work with Harris? They're not going to shut down your business. It's like he's got a sobriety issue, focusing on his sobriety and his health. They want him to take some time off and take care of his health. Their main issue with it, is his health. Where he's at right now, traveling. There's some traveling. He's headed to Arizona. This makes me feel that he's going to trail behind Harris and try and cut the steam out. Remember? And now they're talking about that. He tries to cut the steam out of Harris's, he's trying to slow her down. So it's almost like J.D. Vance following behind her, the creepy guy. I'm following you. I'm going to your plane. It's just this creepy energy of, we're creepy guys and we're following you. Knight of Wands, he's got trips coming to the Southwest. Four of Cups. He could be really taking care of his health, or Four of Cups is to reject drinks. And with the Temperance card, I would look at it as possibly trying to get some control over his health. Like, he's aware that he's got to be back on the trail, and they're giving him a little bit of a break for whatever reason, but He's got to get his health together. Sword of truth is over him, and he's sitting in a desire to flee the situation. Part of him does not want to run this from this campaign. That's the August card. Strong, powerful energy. The truth coming out. Could be a strong woman. He struggles with addiction. You can see here, 7th house, also his base card. You see? His immediate environment, addiction. And then over here, his crossing card, turning down. This guy's struggling with his addictions. Could be also, if they're testing him or if he doesn't have a legitimate prescription, he could be having problems with his parole officer. Yeah, because it's really coming up here. Within 30 days, temperance, he could be tested. And then here, addiction. And then the truth coming out, some hidden truth revealed in the time of August, action, reaction. 5th house and 6th house, past and future. The time of August leads to things being revealed. It's also a strong female. His opposition, the Constitution or the ethics. So he's seen perhaps as having issues with ethics, the higher ethos, the Constitution, his hopes and fears to reach across the aisle or to convince people that may not be supporting him to vote for him. And the final outcome is Flim Flam Man, 2 of Pentacles. Within 2 weeks, Flim Flam Man. Okay. Yeah, he's going to lose. He loses. He gets exposed as a Flim Flam Man. You can see here, 9 of Swords. The best thing that he can do for himself right now, I would say to him, if I was his doctor, if I was part of his medical team, part of recovery, the 12 steps, is first you got to get clean and sober. Everything else that's happened up to this point because of your addictions, because of the mental health problems, the paying of the piper, you could go to prison. These are things that we face when we hit rock bottom. And I would say to this individual, you have hit rock bottom. It's the same thing I would say in my practice when we're helping, when we're part of a team working with someone who's trying to get clean and sober. But the first thing we say is, no matter how bad it gets, facing the judge, facing incarceration, etc., no matter how horrible rock bottom feels, the first obligation is you got to get clean. You got to get clean. You got to get clean and sober. So he's struggling with that. That's the honest way I would interpret this. These cards would indicate sobriety issues. See? 4 of Cups, turning down drinks with the Temperance card. So, yeah, I feel, I have empathy. I have compassion for everybody. No, it shows that Kamala wins and everything is coming to an end. And the best thing that he can do at this time is just take it one day at a time. What you need to do is get the medical help you need, getting clean and sober, and that is all you can deal with right now. So in another 2 weeks, you're back out 2 weeks. Remember, a pentacle has been traditionally viewed as a money card. A pentacle is a coin. A coin was given. Can you imagine how poor people were that used to, what was the worst job in London? It was to go through the garbage, right? You would go through the garbage and pick through the garbage to find if there was anything of value in the garbage. the feces, etc., down at the docks. And if you found anything, a rag or anything that could be repurposed, it was given to the man that hired the rag collectors, the garbage collectors, right? And then you would get what, £1 a week? So the pound was considered, or the coin was, here is your week's wages. So for that reason, we think about a week. Here is your coin for the week, right? Oh, is that the workout? Did you guys see the video on that where people recreated it? It was freaking hell. And God, it was just horrible. And what they got and they got food, which was a crust of bread and moldy cheese. And then they would consume it and then get back to going through the feces and stuff. And I found a rag, or I found a broken piece of pottery. I'm just like, what a hellish life. And they often died from disease very early on. But you did that for a week, you got moldy, and here's £1. The workhouse, yes. So workman's wages, right? So 2 weeks is a 2 of pentacles. It's also a flim flam man, right? So he's he's taking a break, and he'll be back on the trail in about a week. If he's in an expat area of Saudi Arabia, if he's in some closed compound, then it's going to be like little America, right? American restaurants, American everything. So he's going to be in his own little private Idaho in Saudi Arabia. Right. If you could like and subscribe, we would be very appreciative. Saudi Arabia. 4 cards. He's completely confused about what he's doing. Empress. Yeah, Saudi Arabia is, there's much wealth there. It's concentrated wealth, which is why a lot of people are poor, because it's concentrated. He's very worried about what's going to be happening to him over the next 30 days. The truth is coming out. He's got more, more stuff coming out about him in the next 30 days. The Epstein stuff is about to drop. That's probably it. Katie Johnson might do another interview. What are they going to do? Bring her on 60 Minutes or something? His opposition is the treasure trove in 30 days. A truth bomb. I think Katie Johnson's going to do a major national interview. That's what it's looking like. What do you think that's going to do for his ratings, having her on 60 Minutes talking about being tied up and raped while people watched? What do you think that people are going to vote for him after that? And he's talking about putting people in prison for getting abortions? Even children who've been, what do you think this is going to do? Do you think Americans are that crazy? I think they aren't. I think the crazies have gotten too much attention. And it's not her. It's because I took my medicine. I have a cold. I went to the doctor. I have a virus that I'm getting over. Yeah, within 30 days, truth bomb. But also, I don't think he knows what to do. Damn, Jack Smith is right over him. Hi, baby. Want a kiss? like, what's in your mouth? She was like, smelling it. It's Ricola for my cold. She got a bath. She got those wet ones baths, and she got a treatment and brushed. So, and also the HIPAA filter got replaced and the rug got thrown out. Oh, she wants her baby. I don't know where your baby is. I'm sorry, sweetie. Where did I put her baby? I'm sorry, Milla. I don't know where Flopsy is. Where did I put her baby? She's looking at me like, you misplaced my child. Milla, I don't know where your baby is. I'm sorry. Did you drag her off somewhere? Where did you put the baby? I'm sorry. I got to get her baby. She can't sleep without her baby. This is Mila's baby, Flopsy. There you go. You guys want to see? She can't sleep without her. She always has slept with her. Her whole life since she was adopted. Since she was adopted, she always slept with her baby. And then she has to massage her baby and give her little baby a massage. Liquor. I don't know. I mean, like a child with a comfort blanket, I guess. Yeah. All right. So we'll go a little bit more into that with Trump and Epstein connection. I think so. I think that Katie Johnson's going to do an interview. That's my hit. Jeez, that's going to take him out. They dropped that 3 weeks before. It's going to be so damn over. Early voting, getting out and voting early. Yeah. Let's look at the Katie Johnson interview that seems to be coming in. I'm getting a hit on that. And victims are going to come forward and start talking about Donald Trump. Ugh, God, I just hate this. I don't enjoy watching this. Okay. There's a huge fight at the networks whether or not they can run this thing. They're fighting about, do we run this? Do we run this? Because there are multiple women that want to come forward saying they've been sexually assaulted. Is this too hot for us to release on ABC or CNN or MSNBC? Who's going to break the story to the national press? And so you have execs fighting. Do we drop the story? Do we? Then you have multiple women, and this is the time of power for women. His opposition is women. But man, they're fighting. Can we legally protect ourselves? What are the consequences if we do this? It's that kind of an energy. Hopes and fears. Four of Wands, what they're building in the next couple of months. The Empress is the treasure trove. Yes. They're going to do interviews probably it's probably 60 minutes. Jeez. Ouch. They're looking at the ethics of doing it. They're, derailing they can't look like they're politically motivated. And that is a big conflict. So you have three people that are saying one thing, two people that are saying another. This conflict that happens with Five of Wands. How do we do this without looking like we're endorsing Harris? That is the biggest conflict because they can't show. At the same time, it's relevant. It's coming out. They can't stop it. In fact, it's coming out. Yeah, it's going to happen. It's an exclusive interview with her and possibly other victims. Either CBS or ABC. It's a major network. You can see here they're having conflict, but then Ten of Cups moves in, and then the sun is over the victims, the women. And then the police or legal action. And then Two of Cups is they work out an arrangement. Yeah. So they work out a way of doing it so that they can say this is alleged or that is alleged or these are the police reports. Dang, he's toast. I don't think you can come back from this. I don't think he can come back from January 6th. I think once the political ads start reminding people of every horrible thing he's done, and then when action committees start getting victims to start talking about how they were raped, and then they start going on CBS and ABC come on, it's toast for this guy. I don't know if I see him being able to leave the United States. I'll tell you as a remote viewer how I feel is my relationship with my son, Donnie, is he's pretty messed up. I feel like my son is really messed up. That's how I feel. I feel like my kid, and I feel like the media and the Democrats and all these people are responsible for what happened to Don Jr. But it's becoming apparent that Don Jr. is a drug addict and that it's out of control. And I feel as his father, sorry for my son. And I feel that my son is a victim of all of this and that a lot of his drug problems are because of the pressure and because he stuck up for me. So it's like what they did to my kid. That is how I'm interpreting it. It's definitely going to happen because I got the hit. Oh God. Are you going to watch it? I don't think I can watch it. I might watch it. I can't hear about somebody doing that to a child. It's one of those things, it's going to go on and you don't need to see it. Looks like it's coming out. Yeah. They're already arguing about they're going to do it. You wouldn't be entering into that kind of intense schooling card of Five of Wands, exchange of ideas, and then the Three of Cups. Come on, man. That's the female power coming in with the sun. Treasure trove Empress. He's toast. Colloidal silver. Yes, I do recommend it sometime, but this isn't bacterial. This is I have a low-grade virus. I also had probably long COVID. I caught COVID when I flew to Tokyo. And then my immune system was down. And because my immune system was down from COVID, I then caught the norovirus. So I thought, I'm dying. I went to the doctor and they're like, we think you've actually you do have a cold, but I'm coughing. Well, drink soup, stay hydrated. It's better than it was. I'm not coughing as much as I was. But when you have a virus, this usually you'll have scanty mucus. You won't have copious amounts of yellow mucus, which is what you'll see with a bacterial infection. And usually with a virus, not always, but you won't necessarily get as high a temperature. Sometimes you will, H1N1, etc. But bacterial infections are where you, oh, we're getting an earthquake. Guys hear the ringing? You hear it? So that is west. Okay, so there was a slight earthquake. I just heard the ringing. Anybody else hear it? Those of you who are sensitive, I know that Linda can hear it. Animals can hear it also. The slight ringing when the pressures are released. Yeah, aftershocks probably in California and Hawaii area. I just heard ringing. It wasn't too bad. It didn't feel too bad. All right, let's take a look at Don Jr. Yeah, when you get that sound sometimes, I'm like, oh, that ringing. You're sometimes hearing the pressure going off from when there are quakes. Some people can hear, some dogs can hear it really well, and that's why they freak out. And women tend to have better hearing of those things than men in terms of the range of their hearing. It's interesting, the Y chromosome puts men at risk of going deaf sooner than women as they age. And then the funny thing is that they lose their hearing in the range of their wife's voice, so they can't hear anything she's saying. Oregano oil is very good. It contains carbachol is the active ingredient. And when you do a standardized oregano as therapy, we look for a carbachol, 70% carbachol. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, Don Jr., how you doing, buddy? He has to get into rehab. I think he wants to get back to his old life. It's kind of like he was lost. He got it. He was lost in his relationship, lost in his life, lost in addiction. It's like he became lost. And cheating and just terrible things he did. A desire for his partnerships, a new beginning in his partnerships, other women, trying to get back to an old partner. It's like he gets clean and sober, or he tries to heal himself, and then he wants to get back to who he was before all of this. Yeah, I just heard the ringing. So probably there are some aftershocks, and we're picking up on it. Oh, you heard the ringing over there? I heard it. Well, I heard it from this ear, so it's coming from the west. So that would be possibly off the coast. Let me check the earthquake monitor. Earthquake monitor. Because I'll tell you where it was. We just picked up on it. Oh, real time, interactive. It looks like there's a ton of aftershocks, yes. So I'm picking up on them. I'll show you the map. That's why my ears are ringing. You can see up here. I just got this one. Quake in the last 72 hours, yeah. You see this over here? This is what I'm picking up, is all this activity. Yeah. Huh. Let me refresh it again. Just heard that thing go off. Yeah, here it is. Let me see if I can get something even more recent. You can do this anytime your ear rings. There it is. You see? "13 kilometers northwest, just went off a 3.3. Yeah, just check yourself. But I can hear it. I can hear it going off. It was west. It was over in Alaska. There it is. Yep. Pretty cool. Here's the aftershock area, and this is where I am. It's when you're a remote viewer, when you're a sensitive, you can, it's one of the cool skills we have, is that we have heightened sensitivity, so we can hear quakes and stuff. Yeah, here it is. I'm looking at it one more time here for you guys. Just a second. Yeah, it's pretty active. Well, it's active. Oh, hi. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. Let me show you again I'm getting the shocks. That's why my ears are ringing. It's not hurting me. If it's really loud, then I get a little nervous. This is hitting right now. You see it? This is me. You can see all the aftershocks. Dang. No wonder my ears are ringing. Look at that. Oof. Yep. That's why your ears ring, my dears. You're hearing. It's interesting when they move, they actually release pressure from the ear. It actually releases a pressure, and then you'll hear this little when the pressure is being released. You go, what is that weird ringing? And you think, I'm losing my mind. Why is my ear ringing? It's just you hearing the pressures being released. Isn't it frustrating? We women can do it, but the guys can't. Oh, there was a Cali earthquake 2 minutes. Yeah, I heard it. Dang. Oh, well. So welcome, Deborah. Good morning. Yeah, I'm still on Sweden time. I did go to the doctor. I have an upper respiratory infection, a virus. It is not my cat. The house has been cleaned and the kitty has been washed. It is not her fault. Just from flying, catching bugs. That was the first time I had COVID. I had never had COVID before. So I guess it was my time to get it. And man, was it bad. And I'm thinking, God, I don't think I would have survived that if I hadn't gotten vaccinated, because I had a really bad case of it. Yeah, I caught it on the plane. Yeah. I didn't feel the earthquake. I just hear it from a distance, but the aftershocks are going on right now in California and parts of Oregon and Alaska. Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at this, trying to get back to the mother of his kid. It's almost like he goes into rehab, he cleans himself up, Donnie, and then he tries to make amends with his family. Goes back to the one he loved, the mother of his children. Look at this also, the clarification of his partnerships, turning down the drink. Again, this is a sobriety card. If you're asking about addiction, 4 cups would be to turn down the drink. People are trying to help him, but Yeah, he's got some stuff to work out. There's a part of him that can be very cold and cruel to people. He has that lack of empathy from his father, so he really has to work at that. Yeah. But it does look like he is going to have to deal with his drug problem. Oh, you get full body pains, Deborah? Yeah. Um, I get really sick on flying from the barometric pressure, and I'm working with my doctors to find out, because I do fly so much that I can have an easier time. And there are things I can do, like don't do a lot of salt, uh, take my Dramamine, make sure I eat something before I get on the plane. If I'm worried about food contamination, bring my own snacks, wear a mask, use essential oil in the nose to kill viruses. There are certain essential oils I can use, or you can place them in the mask. So there are things. Bring my ginger chews for nausea, like that. I have a whole protocol now that they gave me. So I just have to do it. And then I should have and when I came back from Sweden, I was not sick. I was tired, but I didn't catch anything. And I basically did everything they said, and it was fine. So it does work. If you know you have problems flying, then try not to do a lot of sodium. Try to keep yourself hydrated. Drink lemon water beforehand. Use a medicinal mask. It can be treated with essential oils like tea tree, lavender, oregano, which can kill the viruses. That's one way that naturopaths you can make it medicinal. Yeah, there's things you can do. Take your Dramamine; it won't hurt you. It's a pretty safe medication. Ginger chews can help. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Elderberry tea. Yeah, I made a medicinal tea for myself, and it was mullein, fennel because I've been having some acid reflux. Some of the carminatives and elderberry, and it helps. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good old-fashioned naturopathic medicine. But I know my diet has been too damn acidic. Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about has to do with the prediction we mentioned in 2017 that Putin was planning on taking over the West, because unfortunately Putin was under some messianic delusion, possibly because he had a drug problem. And unfortunately, with amphetamines, cocaine, and other amphetamines, they raised dopamine levels to extremely high levels. And what we've learned as doctors from these elevated dopamine levels is that people begin to believe that they are invincible. They begin to believe that the rules don't apply to them. They begin to think that they're geniuses, etc. And that's kind of what happened to Putin. He thought that he was chosen by God to bring the light of the true church, the Russian Orthodox Church, to the four corners of the world, and that the lights of Moscow would shine on the entire world, and St. Petersburg would be, that would be the truth of the Holy Church. And he was like the Messiah that was going to bring the church to the world. So this was the delusion. And so everyone was going to bow to him in gratitude, like Ivan the Terrible spreading his church everywhere, right? So, but when you stepped back and looked at this objectively, past this person's delusion and fantasy with his group of sycophants, you just saw a crazy guy, delusioned, and possibly involved with drug abuse and even injections. I saw possible injections, and I saw that Prigozhin may have been injecting him with something like speedballs or something like that. Speedballs, methamphetamines. the person becomes delusional. They think they're a god. And then they begin to behave in erratic, crazy ways. And then when you step back and you look at that and you look at action, reaction, what would be the most likely outcome? It was that the West would be marching on Moscow. And unfortunately, now that's precisely what is happening. It would appear that they have entered the Kursk region. They also surrounded, they took over some major areas, including nuclear power plants seem to be taken over, and it's not looking good. And they are, in fact, less than 400 miles from Moscow. Now, I don't know about you, but if an enemy army was 400 miles from Washington, D.C., I'd be pretty gosh darn nervous. So, you know, what's it also says something about the dangers of being a sycophant, right? I mean, being in a world where you're surrounded by sycophants and nobody's giving you any kind of objective feedback. And that's also, let's see if the enforcer has anything. Yeah, I mean, basically, I'll show you. The enforcer has some good stuff. I know not everyone likes them, but they really are very good at getting up to date. You can see
through area like Prighozin. The Ukrainians would have to find another area to try and advance into that would give them a major paved roadway, and not only that, access to a rapid advance route or a faster attack lane. That area is Kolotolovka. Kolotolovka is one of the few areas in the northern Belgorod Oblast that actually has a paved road crossing the border in between Ukraine and the Russian Federation.
So basically, if you were to push the map down, Moscow is over here. They're less than 400 miles. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. And I think they surrounded something like 50,000 Russian troops. And that massive Russian are surrendering. I don't know. Frankly, I don't know how he's going to come back from this. That's when you bring in the oracle, right? If you're going to go to war, you would bring in an oracle. Well, we want to do this, and we're living in this world where we're going to spread our religion to the four corners. And then the oracle has to come in and give you the 360-degree egoless feedback, which is, if you do this thing, the West will march on Moscow. Now, if you don't like what your oracle or your psychic has to say, you might kill your oracle, right? I don't like the messenger. And that's also really dangerous, because if you're a king or somebody who's in political position of power, you have to be able to have people close to you that are not compromised and will tell you what you need to hear. And it's important for the remote viewer to feel safe enough to be honest with you. And that's something that we sometimes get into here, because this is an entertainment show where I will do the best work. I'll do the best work I can as a remote viewer, and I will say something that people don't want to hear, like that President Biden needed to step down, and that was what people didn't want to hear. And so it puts pressure on the reader to either lie or withhold information, and that's very dangerous. We don't have to always agree with the reader, but if the reader is a good remote viewer, if they are doing HCRV properly, they should be able to step above their own bias and tell you what they see without putting their own spin on it. And there was just no way in hell that the West was going to become Eastern Orthodox and let him. And also, they were in better shape militarily. So let's take a look at what's going to be happening with them going into Russia. And if you're just joining us, if you could like and subscribe, that would be great. Think about memberships. They do help us keep our doors open, and much appreciated. All right. Yeah, I see injections. Prigozhin wasn't just supplying him food. He was supplying him good, grade A drugs and shooting him up. He kept the old man's secret. He tied him off and shot him up with the best drugs out there. And so he had to kill him, take him out. It wasn't just that he went against the old man. He had so much contraband, he had so much dirt on Putin, he got cocky. Putin. A new contract or evidence, or he's building a new foundation. His opposition, deeply wounded, attempting to heal. So his opposition has Archangel Raphael. A lot of people praying for them right now. Hopes and fears. The magician coming into a position of power. That he wants to have a position of power. The final outcome for Putin in the grave. Stopped, in the grave, finished. His clarification, armistice. Armistice Day, 3 of Cups, dancing in the streets, as Linda likes to say. The weapons of war are taken away from the enemies. It's over. They're winning. Putin in the grave. Putin's finished. He could not maintain his position. They really beat him. Look at this, taking the weapons of war and they're fleeing. Wow, he's finished. Look at that. Again, going back to the conversation about personality disorders, not a teachable moment for this guy, right? So if we tell him, if we're the remote viewer, and what Putin wants is the video, we put a video up and you can go back and take a look at it. And that was before everything came out. But yeah, it always ended with the West marching on Moscow. Oh, who's a Gemini? Yeah, Putin is a Gemini air sign, which would be the king of Swords. I think Elon Musk is the Cancer, right? He fired Gerasimov. Yeah, and he fired everybody that was involved in the military. Also, Shogun, everybody. There's nobody left. So, oh, my sleep problems are, because I was in your time zone last week. Yeah, that's okay. I'll take a nap later. That's all right. I mean, the truth of the matter is I'm back in Europe in a couple weeks, so who cares, right? I mean, I'll be in Ireland. And then I'm home for a good 3-4 months. I'm just taking a break until after the election. And then I'll probably, I think Thailand, Philippines is looking pretty good. So I'll probably be somewhere in Asia after that. Yeah, Libra. Oh, that's right. October 7th. He had his pogrom on October 7th. Yes. Um, yeah. Sick puppy. All right. So is Don Jr. going to jail? Let's take a look. Is Don Jr. going to jail? Ooh, everybody's waking up. Wakey, wakey. Look at you all. 400. Wakey, wakey. Well, good morning to you. Make yourselves a cup of tea or coffee. Join us. Yeah, the King of Swords is the air sign, and it's associated with metal and air in Chinese medicine. Metal and air. Don Jr. Is he going to jail? He's defending himself against multiple allegations, the Seven of Wands. You know, he's like his dad. I just want him to get clean and one day at a time, just get sober. His opposition, strong partnership. He has a real hard time with his relationships with women, and he knows it. And a lot of it has to do with his mental health problems. Two of Cups. I think he really wants to heal his relationships with his family and all the crap he did when he was having a drug problem. I see him. It's either that or he's not going to survive. You can see here walking away from everything, defending his position, ending some of his partnerships. I think he's going to break up with his girlfriend, and I think he's going to try and reconcile or work on his relationship with his family to some extent. I don't know how easy it's going to be for him because he does have a side of him where he can be very cruel. He's worried about his destiny. Three of Wands over Two of Cups. It's interesting because romantic relationships are really, really important for him. They give him the fuel. He has somebody to talk to, etc. Yeah, so that's basically what is going on. He could avoid jail. It's really more what you get with him is that he's got to get clean and sober. Yeah. It's interesting, you know, what people think is important in life is not really important in life. I mean, we want the basic comforts, but being ego-driven, like I'm going to do this. I've been ego-driven, and instead be driven towards mastery, you know, in stoicism, just do your job to the best of your ability and pray for people also. Be a good person. I pray for my clients, you know, I pray with them. I pray over them. I try not to, I mean, I was in such a dark, negative space for so long. I'm surprised I had any subscribers at all. I mean, I went through a very dark period the last couple of years, right? And then I kind of snapped out of it like, wow, I was in a really dark place, right? So we have to always take care of ourselves first, whatever it is. And that's kind of the advice I would give to Don Jr. and to Don Sr. is first get yourself cleaned up. Because if you are facing incarceration and multiple charges, etc., the last thing you need to be doing right now is being self-destructive and doing drugs. Get yourself clean and sober one day at a time. So at the very least, you have the mental wherewithal to handle the consequences of your former actions. And that's kind of, it's looking for Don Jr. that he's either going to get some help for himself or he's not going to survive much longer. It's really a make it or break it with him. And same with his dad. I mean, slurring his words, probably on benzos, really having a hard time. Even he shows cognitive decline, yes, but he also shows a lot of evidence with Trump that he's got a serious drug problem. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Deborah. When you go into the energy of Putin, he really had messianic delusions. And uh, oh, gosh, and I was thinking, who's shooting him up now that Prigozhin is gone? Who else was shooting him up, tying him off and shooting him up? I mean, Prigozhin took care of everything, took care of his food, took care of his drugs, took care of shooting him up, getting him clean drugs, not telling people about his problem, right? That's Prigozhin. Hey, old man, I know everything. Yeah, you're losing your head. Yeah, because you got a little problem, huh? I know about your little your little problem. Overall mental health for Putin, Four of Swords, uh, it doesn't look too good. It doesn't look too good. It's a new day in Russia. No, it's the time of Putin is finished. The time of Putin is finished. New beginning for his opposition empress. So it's a time of wealth for the West, but it's not a time of wealth for him. It makes me wonder how China is doing. Hopes and fears. And then you can see here, hopes and fears that he will get his wish, but Wheel of Fortune, his time is coming to an end. The clarification for him. Ukraine wins the battle against Putin. Global partnership. You can see here Ukraine, the Queen of Wands, who carries the sunflower. Destiny is with Ukraine. There was no way the West was going to let him do this. It's just he was truly crazy. He had gone crazy from his drug problem. It's very obvious to me as a remote viewer when I profile him that this guy has a drug problem. And specifically, I see injections, that he was injecting something. I mean, it's so weird because he presented himself as so healthy and so whatever, but in real life, this guy is not healthy. This guy has it's almost like he had a drug problem and he thought it was under control and it was neat and tidy and he had clean stuff and he was getting his clean, pure amphetamine injections and drugs. And it took its toll and he slowly began to become increasingly crazy, paranoid, delusional, and the height of the delusion is when he invaded Ukraine. But Ukraine is my sunflower card. Yeah. It's disturbing, right? It's disturbing. Napoleon complex, maybe, like the short man's complex. It's interesting to think about it like that. Do I think that Russia will lose land? They want a security barrier of it could be as much as 200 to 300 miles between Russia and like a peace zone. So yeah, in a way, that's what happened to Lebanon, right, with U.S. troops in Syria, right? So northern Syria, etc. And then Donald Trump, in his wisdom, pulled that out, and now we don't have that barrier. And so Israel is losing the north, right? We're losing land because U.S. troops were pulled out by the very people claiming that, I liken it to Mars Attacks, the movie Mars Attacks. All you have to do is say, stop, we come in peace. And then you can shoot and kill people. And that's basically what Putin and Trump did with their buddy Iran. They pulled U.S. troops out, and Hezbollah moved closer to the border, but they keep gaslighting people and saying that Trump is great for Israel. Stop, we come in peace, while Lebanon is encroaching and more Israelis are having to withdraw from the north because of the policies of Donald Trump. Because he talks a great game and he talks about how I'm going to do this. You're the reason this is happening, right? Putin was meeting with Hamas, planning his birthday present, which is like Ivan the Terrible, a good pogrom, kill and rape a bunch of Jews on my birthday and send a message that he is Ivan the Terrible, right? That he was never friends of Israel. Hi, Terry. Good to see you. Oh, I'm sorry you have a husband who has a Napoleon complex. That doesn't sound like much fun. What was the thing? Who was the guy that they had dancing on a table? Was it Trump? That was at one point they let him just dance on a table to get it out of his system. Well, yes, you are our leader. Just, maybe that's what you have to do. I was hearing a speech by somebody talking about what it is to be an alcoholic. And he said when he was in the height of his addiction, you think everybody is with you when you're an alcoholic. You think everybody is having fun when you're a drug addict. And he had that experience where he was dancing on the top of a table, drunk out of his mind at a party, destroying things, whatever. And he thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And then he looked down and he saw his wife holding their kid and this look of horror on her face. And he realized at that moment, this isn't funny for everybody else. That was his aha moment. He thought everybody was dancing to the music in his head. He didn't see how it looked to everybody else. And that's really the Napoleon complex, right, Terry? It's when they're so wrapped up in their own power trip, dancing on the table, smashing dishes, and everybody's dancing to the music in my head. And then you have a moment of clarity and you look and you see that everybody's just mortified at this lunatic, right? So, yeah, but in the case of Putin, he really has, I see an actual addiction. Yeah. Okay, so people had wanted me also to check on Xi. Excuse me. We had not done much on China. China has been kind of silent the last couple of weeks. Certainly, there's been some tension. I don't think Nancy Pelosi handled things well, being a woman, telling him to kiss off and humiliating him in front of everybody else. We're going over to Taiwan. Just not, wasn't the best way to handle it. But she has really tried to distance himself from what's going on with Putin. Let's take a look at what's going on inside China. We do know that the economy's been collapsing. They're having a real hard time. They've lost a lot of business with the West. Stealing patents from the West and producing cheap knockoffs really hurt the West, and that's part of why they cut off, relations with the West. With China. Stealing biologics like vaccine information, etc. Basically, intellectual property theft. Xi and China. I am on European time zone. I'm ready for breakfast. Or brunch, right? they excuse me, they have a new beginning with the West, and there's a new partnership, a new day coming in terms of positive relationships between China and the West. They've got to just stop trying to put spies in stealing intellectual property. That was a big part of it when they arrested spies that were stealing genetic material, etc. You can see wealth. There's a future of wealth for China, but the opposition is King of Swords. So this kind of military or cold, icy response from their opposition would lead me to think that there's a feeling of shame, like being kicked out of the party, that they're being heavily sanctioned or penalized for their actions. Hopes and fears, they want armistice, and then you can see partnership with the West. So westerly direction partnership is West card is my two of wands. He faces west. So let's see why that optimism is there, because that's good. I want to see, I mean, it would be really good for us to heal and create a healthy relationship with China. It would be good for our economy. It would be good for their economy. It would be terrible if China collapsed. We don't want that for anybody, but we want healthy trade, right? They're dreaming of the wealth. So dreaming of better days with the West. Smoother waters lay ahead with the opposition. We are going to be fine. So we're building up our defenses. We're building up America is building up their defenses. Remember, swords are like ice, the military, boundaries. Gavura in Hebrew, Gavura. You have chesed, which is love, 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 love. It's like the empress that ever overflows. Give, 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 give. And then you have boundaries, Gavura, which tends to be swords, icy cold. So America is shoring up its boundaries and taking care of themselves. Trump was not wrong when he said that. He says things that are true sometimes, that we do want to shore up our defenses, work on our security, rebuild where we were compromised. So you have this dream of a better relationship with improved boundaries. We can begin to think about a new contract with China, but it's going to have to be new respect and new boundaries. And then we can see this beautiful relationship coming up between East and West. Three of Wands, again, a ship coming in. He looks to the East. Two of Wands is a Western direction and global trade. So East-West coming together. It will be resolved. It will be resolved probably sooner rather than later. And they just have to clean up their ethics, because the truth of the matter is it's not good for them and it's not good for us. We're suffering because of the trade embargoes, because of the sanctions. It's with the East, and they're suffering. And so let's just clean up and play baseball, right? We want to play ball, right? But everybody has to, there's this new contract coming in, an armistice, and then you have the East-West coming together. Great cards for East and West, smoother waters as we move towards boundaries. We cannot be naive about the East. We can't let everybody love. You and I are nice people. Love, 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 love. We love everybody, but not everybody loves us. And so the kindness, compassion, and open trade is an option, but we also have to maintain healthy boundaries and trust. We need to develop trust with the East so that trust can be restored between East and West. And if we do that, then we're seeing a beautiful contract, and these are beautiful cards for the future between. It is good. We want good things for China. We very much want good things for China. We want wealth for the whole planet. We don't want people going hungry and losing their homes in China. We want everyone to be on the same page when it comes to healing the planet and ending hunger, etc. But we need to be ethical, right? We need to be ethical in our business dealings. Okay, any more questions before we close today's get-together? Anything that we didn't get to? Yeah? I feel guilty leaving because people are starting to wake up. I started off with like 170 people or something like that. The first 20, now it's up to 425. What do you mean you're leaving? I just woke up and made my coffee. Well, that's not fair, Whimsy. We're waking up. You're going to stay. And yes, well, finish my Ricolas. Ricola. Yeah, the enforcer just put another one up. Massive surrenders in mainland Russia right now. It's just, yeah. Well, the other thing is they started taking vital areas like nuclear power plants, all kinds of stuff. So I don't think that Russia enjoys being invaded. So, yeah, it doesn't feel good, does it? 50,000 troops. What do they? How are they going to feed 50,000 troops? What do they do? What I would disarm them and say, go home. I would disarm them and say, yeah, you're already in Russia. Just go home. We can't feed you. 50,000. Just. But the other thing is that the Ukrainians took their bases, taking their weapons. I've heard cases like that where they've just said, just leave. I'm sorry, I didn't shoot once, my God. Just go. Just disarm and go back to St. Petersburg, okay? I'm gone. I go now. Okay, you go now. How are they going to feed 50,000 troops? Just go. Hightail it back to, Kazakhstan or North Korea or wherever you came from. I mean, they can keep some of them, but it's gotten to a point now where a lot of them are just being disarmed and released. They can't hurt them. What are they going to do? Run in their underwear back to their village and just go. So, yeah, I guess that a lot of them are just getting disarmed and released. 50,000, yeah. Well, I think the other reason why it's different is because they're actually in Russia. There's only so many people you can take in. The next thing you know, you've got an entire town you have to feed. You've got an entire town of 250,000 people that you've got to supply food for, or you can just disarm them. Say, if we see you back here again, we're going to shoot you in the ass. Get out of here. I'm never coming back. Like, I've seen some of the film footage. I didn't shoot. It's like, just go. Where they've actually had them just physically keep walking. Just keep going before we change our minds. It's just too many troops at this point. Can you imagine too many troops? It's too many hostages. I mean, or not hostages. It's too many prisoners. Yeah. What would you do? I mean, like, who's gonna cook all that borscht? Right? Crazy, right? Totally crazy. Yeah, like, just go before we change our mind. Go back to St. Petersburg. What am I going to tell that your unit was taken? Just go. They can't even rearm. Oh, my, did you guys see my, behind me, my angel just flew by. Did you see the wings? I just saw her. Yeah, they took the base, they took the arms. So at that point, you're just a guy in your underwear. Well, he can go rearm. Where? They're less than 400 miles from Moscow. Now they are trying to fortify. This is how bad it is. They are marching on Moscow. The other thing is that the Moscow guards are starting to fortify Moscow. That's how bad it's gotten. I mean, it's God, why don't people see? This is the thing. This is why I'm so glad, because we all do this. I had before I started practicing remote viewing, before I learned how to do HCRV, I was as trapped in my own biases, my own BS, my own fragmented soul and all that other crap. I can get into that stuff. I mean, I was in a very bad bardo for the last couple of years. I'm surprised I had any. By the way, I've moved through it. You don't have to be afraid of me anymore. But it was like expelling a demon when I went to Sweden. I did some really deep spiritual work, and I was in a really dark bardo space for years. People go through things, and then we can get trapped in that. We can get trapped in these ghosts and these spirits and these ideas, and then something has to change. Maya Musk, believe it or not, she wrote a great book about that. She doesn't always agree with her son, but she loves him, right? Maya Musk. She's loving and supporting, but she'll call him out. Like, get rid of the trolls on X, start hiring people, because he tends to eliminate things. He tries to have as little as possible, but that's because he doesn't want to have, dismantle everything, reduce it to one word and then delete it. Take all your work and delete down to its very essence. And then what do you do when you get down to the very essence of your work? You delete it. Well, that's stupid. What are you doing? And then you bring it back. But, it's just not the way yes, I understand you want to streamline everything, but that's crazy. You're being cheap. You have to hire more people at X. And that's really the issue, is that he is not rehiring. And so that's the big complaint about X. And so the trolls, the jerks, and then he leaves it up to us, the regular person. Then he wants to have a group of people. No, he wanted to have a meeting with me and other people about creating like troll people. It's like, no, I'm on a vacation in Sweden. His assistant contacted me. Can you make this meeting? No, I can't. It's going to be an exclusive. I don't care if it's an exclusive. Here's my feedback for him. Hire people. Because I was doing these videos and I complained to his mom, and yeah. So there are people like that, they just they're cheap. They don't want to invest. If you're running a company, you're going to have to hire people. What can I tell you? Yeah, ego is tricky. And so HCRV helps us get out of our ego a little bit, because I keep my ego busy in HCRV, which is that we focus on the gut, which is processing the outside world, and then we respond with ego, like the cat raising their back, for I'm a big ferocious monster. You have to do that or you're going to be dead. So you have to have ego. So what we teach people in remote viewing class is that we teach them to get calm and to observe the ego process of energy coming into the heart, energy coming into the gut. And then you're observing, oh, I am processing this stuff. And now let me process this stuff as Putin. Now I understand ego and personality. Let me start processing it as in a place of universal love. I'm part of the oversoul of everybody, right? So let me process my ego as Putin. Let me love unconditional love for all of humanity. I am Putin, and how am I feeling in my third and fourth chakra? How am I feeling as well? How do I feel as Trump? What am I processing here? Well, I'm very upset. All of a sudden, you're no longer you. You are just the person. Your avatar is just processing whoever the target is at that point. Yes, Elon was very cruel to his transgender daughter, and we did a profile on that because Elon Musk has not properly grieved the death of his son from SIDS. You know, they brought the child home. I think that his first child, his son, and son died within 3 weeks. And I don't think he ever mentally recovered from the death of his, as I don't think any of us would. And there he was, okay, let's just have more kids, surrogate. Let's just go, let's go. A couple weeks later, let's just go right into this. Let's not grieve. Let's not think about it. And so he didn't process it. And then he has twins, Vivian Jenna and another child. And then this unprocessed death of his son doesn't get processed. And so now he becomes obsessive, controlling, angry, very angry, angry at God, angry at his wife, angry at himself, and he becomes hyper controlling. And this obsession that it's not going to happen to another one of my kids. And so this is also why he is having problems right now with Grimes, because he takes the kids, doesn't want to give her the kids, doesn't want her to take the kids to Canada, and then I'll lose my son again, and clinging to X and taking X everywhere, thinking that he's going to lose you're not taking another one of my kids. I don't think he ever processed that. I felt as Elon Musk that I had not processed, and I felt this terror, don't take my kid again. And I'm clinging to my babies, and I got to have lots of babies because I'm cracked after this. And the other thing that happens to me is I got to be tough with my son because my son is like me. He's a pussy, right? He's weak, like I was weak. He's just like me, right? Vivian Jenna and Elon are very similar people, personality-wise. She's just like him. She's the most like him of any of the kids. So just like him, she hates her father, and she's going to go off and be an entrepreneur. I mean, they don't realize they're dancing around the same thing. And that all of this is, he thought it was loving. In his broken brain, he thought being tough to his son was going to keep his son from not getting beat up and treated like crap like he was when he was a kid. I got to keep this kid alive. They're not taking this son. They beat him every day of his life because he was a little pussy who just wanted to sit around and read, and he wasn't athletic. He wanted to hang out with the girls and brush their hair, right? That was Elon, right? You're pretty. Can I brush your hair? Right? Read you from my book. He wasn't interested in sports, so they beat the crap out of him every day because he'd rather hang out with girls and read, so accusing him of being gay, et cetera, being overly protective of his mother who was being abused. So you get this profile, because I profile, of somebody who's trying to toughen his kid up so that they're going to kill this kid. This kid's going to be dead. He's going to be meat, just like I was meat. I got to toughen him up, right? So in his broken brain, he thought it was love. And Elon is very much internally female. He's the king of cups. And so he counters it by macho, macho man boxing. It's this desperate attempt to hide the fact that he's actually a lot like Jenna. And what he doesn't understand is that women prefer to date men like that. We like the boy that brushed our hair. You're nice, you're pretty, I like you. Can I brush your hair? Let's sit and read together. That was the boy I hung out with. I didn't want to hang out with the bullies, right? So he worked so hard to become like the people that abused him, and he should have just embraced the fact that he was an unbelievably feminine person, the Empress, Cancer, who loves her babies and wants to have babies wall to wall, like a good Hasidic man. I mean, he would probably, I know he's been studying Judaism and he has actually thought about converting to Judaism. And I think it's because of this acceptance of Jewish men we have in our culture, that the feminine is good, that men want to love their children, and it's okay to have these attributes. It is good. It is to have this part of yourself. And but that's my profile on Musk. It doesn't excuse the terrible things he's done, but as a profiler, I understand him and I have compassion for him. But I also understand why he wants to save all the babies and he flew into a war zone, and why he wants to build these pods or oasis zones where all the people can go and be safe that don't want war and get work and industry. And like he said in the interview last night, most immigrants are good and we want to give them safe harbor and work, etc. So I want to nurture the good in people, but I also think he needs to get help. I also think he has a head injury that's affecting his impulse control, etc. Very, very interesting person to profile. Good morning from Texas. It's 3:30, but for me it's noon. It's about 11:30 noon because I just got back from Sweden a week ago and I'm still on Swedish time. Yeah, I got back. I flew in on Monday last week, and I'm still communicating with Sweden too because I have people over there. So everything is on Swedish time. I'm almost thinking I don't want to correct it because in 3 weeks I'll be back in Ireland. So I mean I'll be in Europe again. So it's like, what's the point of correcting it? Yeah, money cannot protect you from everything, like a child dying of SIDS death. You know? And what is that going to do to a father? What's the primary drive of a father? He's supposed to protect the children, right? So how is that impacting his marriage? I couldn't protect my wife and I couldn't protect my son. So how guilty do I feel? I'm the protector. I'm the kid that brushed the girl's hair and protected my mother, and now my kid is dead. So I'm a failure, right? I didn't keep my kid alive. My wife is crying. I can't handle this. We got to have more babies. Just boom, 2 more kids. Okay. Now Jenna shows up. Vivian Jenna. Oh my God, she's just like me. They're going to kill her out there. Got to toughen you up, man. You're going to be dead like the last one. I'm going to kill my kid, right? So it's a very interesting profile. A very interesting profile. I have a soft spot for him, but I don't agree with much of what he does. But I see the good. I don't see that type of good, I'm sorry to say, in Donald Trump. I see the good in Elon that I'm sorry to say I don't see in Donald Trump. I don't think he's going to bring the mark of the beast, but I'm Jewish, so we don't have that culture, so I can't even comment on mark of the beast. It's not even my culture, so I can't even. I do travel a lot. Yeah, I do. The original trip that I had been planning for a year was to go to Ireland, and we were going to do some channelings for you guys to try and communicate with nature spirits there. So I'm going to go to sacred sites and I'm going to start channeling the ancestors, and I will tell you what they have to say to us. I am not Irish. I am not Irish, but I love the music. Hungarian, Jewish, and my dad's side was British. Yeah, unfortunately, no Irish, but it was great actually being in Sweden because, I have that Northern English and that Hungarian Jewish background. So it was like food that I can eat. It's like fish. The British eat a lot of fish and oats and groats and yogurt. So yeah, it was good stuff. Yeah, he was gone 10% of the time, checked out, working 24 hours, and also very aggressive, right? I think a lot of that aggression came from having to fight all the time, right? And then what does Trump do after he gets shot? Fight, fight, fight. Wow, I really see that's the thing he loves. Yeah, fight, fight, fight. I think that I would love to be the person to get their mediation going. I'd love to mediate that. Let's see if they will work it out, Vivian and Elon. I hope so. I want him to heal. I don't like him being on drugs like ketamine because he feels guilty. So he gets on the drugs for the depression because it's driving him crazy that he isn't in a relationship with his daughter. Oh, you're Hungarian Jewish, cool. And Swedish, how cool. Very neat. Wonder if we're related. All right. Well, Vivian Jenna and Elon Musk heal their relationship. Let's get them back together. He needs to grieve the death of his child. Maybe have a ceremony to grieve that baby and embrace his feminine side. Over. Going nowhere. They're both so stubborn. They must have a ton of Taurus in their charts. Fleeing like a thief. He doesn't want any accountability. He doesn't want, you did this, like, you destroyed the family. You killed your child. He flees responsibility like a thief. So he doesn't want to, he cannot handle in any way feeling like he's responsible for this. Other women, multiple women. So this anger that he cheated on her mother. Serial cheater. You're a serial cheater, right? That's what she called him. Ice King. So he compartmentalizes and he becomes the Ice King. He can't handle it. He can't emotionally handle it. She doesn't understand her father in the clouds. She doesn't understand his choices. He tries to get her back, the Knight of Cups. Really loves her. Things he doesn't like to talk about that are very, very personal about when his child was born. He's afraid to love his child because, in a way, he's afraid to love because he's afraid that he'll love the child and then the child will be taken from him. The wedding cup. And so he instead becomes promiscuous. He becomes cold like the King of Swords. He's afraid of these deep feelings. He had very deep feelings for Jenna when she was born. The Ace of Cups, the new birth of the child, the smell of the newborn child, these kinds of deep emotional feelings he has for his child that I think he was afraid of getting too close because of the trauma of SIDS. It created a kind of absence, this kind of fear of letting himself love again or get close to his child again. It was something, it is probably the most painful thing a person can live through, I think, is their child dying. I can't imagine anything more painful. And it changed him tremendously. It really, he will return to being the father. He's afraid to love her. He was afraid to love her. That's what it was. To feel that pain again of loving your baby and then having your baby taken from you. It's almost like he didn't want to get too attached also. It's very sad. So sad. I think only a few weeks old. It's just maybe a couple months old. And so, that love you feel, the Ace of Cups, and you're just completely in love with your baby. And then the horror, the love of your life, your entire world is wrapped around this baby and it's dead. So he never processed that. And then when he goes right into, we got to have another kid, right? He doesn't totally process it. And then when the other kid shows up, he's almost afraid to touch it or develop too close to the child. He becomes almost afraid to love after that. And then he goes the other way, right? After the divorce, and then he has children with Grimes, and then he becomes the obsessive parent that won't let the kid out of his sight. Where's my kid? Where's my kid? And he has to hold him, and where's my baby? And you're not getting my kid, right? You're not taking my kid. They're taking my kids, right? Fear that he's going to lose his kid. It's considered in the Talmud one of the greatest pains you can know is the death of your own child. It's probably considered the greatest pain is to watch your child die in front of you or to go to pick your baby up and the baby is dead. So you can only imagine the level of psychosis that can take you into, going into drugs, promiscuity, because he checked out. It's a hell of a profile. I mean, the truth of the matter is if he healed this stuff, and let himself embrace those parts of himself, he could become a really wonderful person again. The irony is his denial of who he is. He's extremely effeminate. He's extremely effeminate, which is why women liked him. Is because he could really connect with women. That's why he was so close to his mother. And so it's like he's denying the very things that are so great about him and his humanity. It's very sad. I'm sorry, Sabrina, that happened. It's very difficult when you have a parent that's disconnected like that. And it doesn't make you feel safe in the world. And I think for Vivian Jenna, it's just a real difficulty understanding why would you not want to love me? Why are you self-checked out? I'm afraid I'll break you. I'm afraid you'll die. It's it's so sad. It's just terrible. We have to work through these things, fear of loving somebody, being devastated, dying of a broken heart. Fathers, there are a few cases of fathers where the kid has been killed and the father dies soon after. It's actually harder, I think, on fathers. Women have reserves that I think, but there have been very few cases in the news where a child's been killed, either murdered or something like that, where the father will die soon after from the grief. So to literally die of a broken heart. And in his case, he just checked out. Yeah. Yes, Martha, that is something that I'm going to be doing is connecting to those who have passed over in Ireland. Also going into the fairy realm a little bit and seeing if the fairies want to communicate. And some of the ancient religions, I'm going to try and get to bog areas and certain areas where there were burials and see if I can't find out about their belief systems, etc. I'm really excited about this trip. I've been planning it for a really long time. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry, Sabrina. Yeah, it doesn't help when people say don't take it seriously because the trauma is still there, right? All right, my loves. It is 3:51. I am wide awake because I slept for like 7 hours. So I'm going to call it a day. I will be back at 5 o'clock for Taco Tuesdays. Man, am I excited about Taco Tuesdays. Do you guys, maybe you don't like Taco Tuesdays as much as I do, but I have so much fun. Oh, and don't forget to check out our book. I'm really enjoying it. It's The Love of Tyomny by T.A. McLaughlin. We're hopefully going to have her in our studios at the end of the month. The Druids, yes, I'm trying to connect with all that good stuff. Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. I just, I have no idea. By the way, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to find. I never know when I go into a remote what's going to happen. I never know as a profiler. Like, I'm always surprised by what people say to me. Like, I was very surprised. My first major contact for the show was like Michael Cohen. You never really know what people are going to say, and it's really cool. It's a really cool profession. Yeah, I love my job. Yes, 5 p.m. Taco Tuesdays, The Love of Tyomny. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your love and support. Thank you for the donations, and thank you for your memberships. Much appreciated. Thank you for being here and supporting me when I was expelling demons the last couple of weeks. Yes. Oops. Hold on. Okay. Did I? No, I didn't cancel it. All right. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, a phone reading, the information is below. I call you. Unless you're out of the country, then you're going to have to call me. WhatsApp works good, or however you like. You can book me through Booksy, and yeah, the information is below. We'll see you next time, everyone. Take care and peace out. We're out of here.